Their training in any given year is in hundreds and hundreds of hours. So we not only meet the minimum standards as set by the Attorney General's office, we exceed them. And we also train with other municipalities and other teams. So they receive extensive training.
Can you talk about how many?
The prosecutor talked about the no-knock warrant. I assume that, or is it fair to assume that this person was considered armed, extremely dangerous, and these officers were aware of that going in? Is that why they wanted an extra element of surprise?
Anytime you have a no-knock warrant, it's an extremely dangerous situation. When you're essentially breaking down into a door, you don't know what to expect. So anytime they're doing that, it's extremely dangerous.
Can you talk about how many officers were at the scene that morning and what agencies were involved in that no-knock?
The tactical team was comprised strictly of Lakewood officers. I'm not sure of the exact number, but I would estimate it somewhere between 10 and 12 officers. That's the minimum complement we usually use to do a job.
Other than that stolen gun from South Carolina, were there other weapons and drugs recovered? Can you get into that?
No, I cannot.
How about a history with Gonzalez?
I can't get into that.
And was there anyone else in the house? Are you looking for anyone else?
This is all part of the investigation, and we're not talking about that.
Can you describe how it went down with a no-knock? They go to the door. How many? Can you go play-by-play of what happened with the officers, where they were?
Just basically, the officers made entry into the residence. The residence is a bi-level. As they go up, they're confronted by gunfire from the top of the stairs, where the suspect is shooting down on the officer from a superior position of height.
Handgun?
The case is so serious. Describe.
Yes, it is a handgun.
Handgun, thank you.
Describe the wound. The officer was shot in the forehead, and I believe the bullet did not penetrate the skull and exited on the side of his face.
How did they get inside? Was it a battering ram? Did they have to kick down the door?
I don't know, but typically we would use some sort of battering ram device to make entry into the house.
Chief, how long has Patrolman Wilson been a member of the police force?
Officer Wilson has been on the job for approximately 6 years. He's an outstanding officer, an outstanding member of the tactical team, highly respected by not only administration but by his fellow officers.
Chief, how many times was Gonzalez hit?
I'm not sure, but he was hit multiple times.
Anybody else in the residence?
There were other people in the arrest.
Do you know how many officers fired, and the 4 officers who were hit, were they the ones who returned fire or other officers?
This is all currently under investigation. I don't have any.
And where was Gonzalez?
I don't know, other than he was hit multiple times.
The fact that he was firing from the stairs down, does that mean they never actually kicked the door down and never?
No, they were in the house.
They were in the house.
They had to make entry into the house. It was a bi-level, and as they were going up the stairs, he was firing down.
I did. Thank you.
What caliber was the handgun?
I believe it was a .357 Magnum. Very powerful hand.
Were they walking up the stairs or were they on some sort of a landing? We heard it described as a landing.
Well, there was a landing and then there's stairs going up. So I believe they were in the process of going up the stairs as they were fired down.
So it was 2 separate houses, and they were going up to the top house, or it was just one?
No, it's one house. It's just a bi-level.
Chief, neighbors were telling me earlier that they suspected something was going on in that house. There were always cars stopping by, quick sort of pickup drops going off and on. Can you, was that what led officers to this house to begin with, and this investigation?
I can't speak on that since this was not our investigation per se. It was our tactical team who made entry into the house. We should speak on that.
Obviously we are conducting our investigation. Any members of the public who have information regarding this are encouraged to call the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, and they will be connected with a member, one of our detectives from our Special Operations Group, and the number for the Prosecutor's Office is 732-929-2027, and we're interested in hearing from any of the neighbors out there, but obviously
Healing going on from inside the home and either
I'm not going to comment on what our investigation, what steps in our investigation brought us to this location, but obviously this was a task force that was targeting narcotics and illegal trafficking in weapons.
Do you know if anybody, if this home had any reports of home invasion in recent meetings at all?
We're not aware of that. It's not an issue that came up.
Okay, I might have missed this, but as the police went in and entered, do they
Right. Part of their training, part of their protocol. We don't, obviously none of us were there. The police officers are being debriefed, are being counseled as is consistent with protocol on a situation like this. Our primary objective at this point is to get them appropriate medical attention and counseling. Having said that, I will say that the protocol requires them, when they enter on a no-knock search, to immediately identify themselves as police officers, and in addition to that, they have clothing on that is identifying them as SWAT people.
Wilson is married, a father. How many kids?
Yes.
Chief,
He's
perhaps you
married
can-
and he's the father of 4 children and 1 new baby. Yes, I'll give you a baby.
Do you guys have a picture of him that we can take a picture of?
I will give him.
Do you believe in hindsight that no-knock entry was the right approach to the situation?
Well, given the nature of the dangerous conclusion of this, an identification beforehand could have exposed them to even greater danger. So, so in hindsight, this is the very purpose of a no-knock search warrant. You have to go before a Superior Court judge who independently evaluates whether or not the officers have to identify themselves. In the vast majority of cases issued search warrants, there is identification of the police officers. But this is a rare situation which is dictated by the circumstances and by the results of our investigation as to whether or not the officers would be exposed to danger if they were to identify themselves before entering the home. So, in something like this, I don't think that you can reflect retrospectively, but clearly, it met the criteria for a no-knock search warrant.
Was this guy known to be somebody who runs guns? I mean, I'm assuming.
I'm sorry.
Was he known to be somebody who runs guns? Was he known for that?
All I can say is that he obviously came to the attention of the Joint Jurisdictional Task Force. Whatever charges beyond this, it's an ongoing investigation. Whether or not he was part of a network or whether it was an individual thing is yet to be determined.
No other weapons found in the house?
We have not had an opportunity to fully search the house because it's being secured as a crime scene for other purposes by criminal investigation. And they are there. Obviously now it's a crime scene and they have to process it accordingly. And so we, whatever is going to be there is not going to be there for the execution of a search warrant later on. Okay, good. Thank you.
He has 3 cards, yeah. So he's got my second card. He's got the card from the earlier person.